Hey y'all, it's Jonathan here with Race Kiki. There's Scott in the background. This week I had the opportunity to speak with the amazing Michelle Lopez. She and I are in a writing clinic together because we are going to deliver a story about our lives on June 5th at the AIDS Memorial. I'd love for you beautiful humans to come explore this moment of joy, of reverence, of survival, of thriving with us. But in the meantime, take a listen to Michelle's Kiki. It's going to change your perspective on lots of things. It sure did mine. Be amazing. And remember, we can't fix a problem we're afraid to talk about. So let's continue to talk about race. Be amazing. I said that already, but I still mean it. I will always want you to be amazing.
Bling. Yes. So that
Really?
was my mm-hmm. Really nice. They have a great they have this the Roebling Museum and quite a nice little historic town. Yep. And there's this water line and there's
Mm-hmm.
an above train that runs back here. Really,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, really nice. So tonight is my last night. When I'm finished here having my lovely chat with you, I'll be heading back to Brooklyn.
Yes, ma'am. Well,
Yes.
Miss Michelle Lopez, thank
Yes, my
you
dear.
very much for joining me here on Race Kiki.
Yes.
I have a question for you.
Go right ahead. Now, I'm just letting you know, Michelle tells it all. I keep
I
it very, very real.
and that is why I'm asking you this question. I knew that when we were in that meeting this past Saturday, and
Yes,
I was like, there's something about her energy that I feel like I need to get her perspective on this question. And
absolutely.
so, when did you learn about race?
I was at least 5 years old.
Okay.
And I'm saying I learned about race. It was my first experience. I had acknowledging I am of a different race than
Okay.
my best friend. I grew up in Trinidad.
Okay.
And my best friend, her name was Michelle also, and she was East Indian. And her family, they were, oh my God, they surrounded me. You know, I was a kid, I was born at home, and Michelle and me just shared these, oh my goodness. I, I just got to go there. Michelle and me shared the first kiss. I kissed a girl. I'm taking you there. Yes. This is in
Okay.
Trinidad, honey. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and as I said, with her being East Indian,
Uh-huh.
we would have we would have these conversations as little girls, you know, and she would tell me, "Oh, look at how my hair is so silky, and you have this curly hair." And I remember me saying to her, "Your hair is so black and pretty," and I didn't like my curly hair, but she loved my hair.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember one day because oh my goodness, I asked questions from day one, and I
Mm-hmm.
still do because I learned some great things, and I learned things that helps me understand why a situation is going on.
Okay.
So I remember asking my mom. I said, "Mommy, why Michelle is Indian?" We didn't even say East Indian. We
Mm-hmm.
said, Indian. I said, "Why Michelle is Indian and I'm Black?" Because I identify as Black Latina. I
Okay.
identify as Black Hispanic,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Afro Caribbean Latina. And I said, and my hair is so curly. I said, but Michelle, I said, Mommy, we are best friends. And I remember my mom said to me, so why are you asking me this question? I
Mm-hmm.
said, because Mommy, we are different race. Didn't you tell me I'm a Black race and Michelle is Indian race? I said, Mom, we are two different races and we are best friends. And I grew up with that. And I think I learned about racism then as I got older.
Okay.
And this was in high school. So
Uh-huh.
for me, race and racism, you know, I
Are
had
different.
different experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I had these different experiences because with the racism in high school, and Trinidad is a melting pot of many different nationalities, I would tell you. And we had some friends in high school who were Caucasian.
Okay.
And, again, young people, we're really innocent. We were. I think for me, I'm not digressing, but I think the younger generation today, oh my God, I marvel at them, but it's their knowledge base. They know certain things and they say. So back then, when we had these Caucasian friends, and I remember in the school, their their family would have car service come and pick them up when we all would walk home. And
Mm-hmm.
we would have
Mm-hmm.
such a great time. And I remember I got home one day and I would say to my mom, Ma, I said, we got a chance. We didn't say bodega or the shop. We said the parlor. I said, Mom, we got to go by the parlor. And guess what? Solange and they didn't get to go because, I said, their father sends his car service and it picks them up. And my mom said, but remember, Michelle, they white and they rich. So they would have cars. I said, Mommy, they don't have the fun that we're having. So as I got older, I developed this high value of this, blackness. And I realized like it was not until these things started standing out.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh my goodness, this race, somehow things are better for them and it's easier for them. And, before I got sent to live in the United States, because I came to New York, I was sent to live in Brooklyn, New York at the age of 16.
Okay.
My mom, yes, my mom sent me because, again, I'm someone I also too identify as bisexual.
Okay.
And, at that age, I'm 16, I had attempted suicide twice already. And I was really acting out because Michelle was just all over the place. Michelle got in trouble in high school because
Michelle
she
was
was
trying
in
to
the
find
locker
herself.
area.
Yeah.
Michelle was trying to find it. Well, Michelle had found herself, honey. She has.
Oh
And what
my.
Michelle has discovered is to let me be. But, honey, it's like, I am so proud. you know,
So
I'm just so proud. And
when you got to New York, when you got to
yeah,
Brooklyn at 16,
Brooklyn. Yeah.
now if I don't want to age anybody, but I think you and I are
I can tell
around
you
the
my
same
age, honey.
season.
I'm 50. I'm 54.
Oh yeah, we're around the same season because I'm 48, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah, I think I'm
Okay.
48.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes. These
and
babies.
and so that would have put you in the 80s in New York.
Yes. I came to New York in the 80s. Absolutely. And I gotta say, it was such an eye opener because what I expected was not what I experienced.
What did you
And
expect?
what I expect was to, come to this. My aunt was living in a middle class, and because she was going through this piece, she had lost her job and she had to downsize. And I was like, are we poor? I remember asking my aunt, and she's like, Michelle, what the hell you mean? Are we poor? Yes. And I said, but we was in poor home in Trinidad.
Right.
She said, Michelle, I said, we didn't have to move. I said, we owned our house. Because I remember she then said to me, and we have to leave this house. I don't own this house. I said, what? I said, everybody don't own their houses. So it was like a culture shock for me
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because I was really used to, this household. My dad is Hispanic, he's Venezuelan, and my mom, Trinidadian, raised, bred. And I was expecting, now here I am in New York, the United States. It's like, it's going to be a bed of roses. My aunt owned this house, and I'm going to get to see snow. I wasn't thinking about poverty. I wasn't thinking about people um acting better than me. You know, I, certain terminologies, certain terminologies, I just didn't know it until I
Until you got
experienced
here.
it. Yes, yes,
And
indeed. But
and
again, as I said, the first time my experience in race, I saw differences with race
right.
and how certain races, would interact with each other and how there was different values with certain races.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that
Mm-hmm.
early.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But it's not until I came to New York and I came to the United States that I realized that this blackness, this black who I am, it's like you had to, it was like you had to earn your place. And then my experience was, it's like you earn a place and you're comfortable with where you are, but it's like you don't have an equalness.
No,
Oh my goodness. I
no.
experienced so much levels of inequality.
And
Yeah.
having to justify your position every time you enter the room, having to validate, having to walk around with your credentials on your forehead to validate your presence in the room.
And guess what, honey? This is a girl I tell people right now. I earned my PhD at UCLA, the University at the corner of Lenox Avenue, because my life changed in 1989. And
Tell
it
me about
was
that.
1989 was when I met my daughter's father. He
Mm-hmm.
was someone that um, I got involved in cocaine at a very young age. Because of, there's this limelight that came with it. There was this like level of, for me, respect. I was hanging with a group of people who, we had very good jobs, and, cocaine was our party drug, and we were partying, and,
Mm-hmm.
we were
Mm-hmm.
just in the
Mm-hmm.
know, and
Mm-hmm.
everybody treated each other equally. Birds of a feather were flocking together.
Mm-hmm.
And there was this equalness that went on because that one thing we had in common. And my daughter's father became someone that I became very intrigued because he's, in the music industry, and he would, my friends would supply him and his crew that, he went with, and I got intrigued by this.
Mm-hmm.
And here I am as this immigrant girl. Let me tell you, 1989. I was not a
1989.
I was not a documented immigrant. And I remember every one of my girlfriends and they saying, you better find a way because you did not want to work in nobody's kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
There was this new, this whole noted when you came to New York as someone from the Caribbean, a woman, you got to do domestic work. And oh no, honey, not Miss Michelle.
No, ma'am.
I did that for 1 month. And I came home and I said to my sister, you got to be kidding me. I'm not doing this shit anymore. I said, my mom and my dad sent me to a damn good school. I
Right.
said, Michelle, what the hell would you do? You don't even have a green card. I said, what the fuck is that? I said to her one day, I came home and I remember we had this big argument and I said, I'm going to find me a job. I said, from what I gather, there is this newspaper called the New York Times. And if you look in there, you can find these temp agencies.
Right.
And I called a temp agency and I made an appointment to go down because I did have a skill. I knew how to type 90 words a minute. And I went down to this temp agency and I filled out this application. And when the lady asked me for a social security number, I looked around the room and I saw these numbers and I made up a social security number and I had no Caribbean accent. I got sent to do a job at
Right.
UPS, United Parcel Services.
Uh-huh.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
indeed. And I was hired through that temp agency. I got a job. And when I came home, my sister thought I was bullshitting her. And I said to her, let me tell you something. Your
because
sister?
it
Yeah.
was like I had to cheat the system, but
Yes.
you're trying really hard to be a productive member of society, but you're being stopped and stopped and stopped and
Stop
stopped
and
and
I
telling
saw it.
that you're illegal, telling that you're
Yes.
undocumented. There's no such thing. It's just
Yes. And I just had this thing fixated in my head. No, I don't care. Shit, I am who I am. I just had this self determination. And I
that you
did.
had to.
Yeah, that I just had to do what I needed to do. And I did become submissive to a certain level of abuse. And
Okay.
I figured, you know what? It was a safety net for me
What do you mean by
because
that?
it was a safety net for me because then I really got entwined with my daughter's father. I got pregnant and, I was, placed to live in this really beautiful brownstone in Harlem. And I was taken care of. And it was not until, the verbal abuse, he never physically abused me, but the verbal abuse. And I mean, here I am pregnant and we were sniffing cocaine together. And it's like he would say things to me like, I own you. You know that, right? You can't leave me. You would never, ever. And somehow it just was not sounding right to me.
Uh-huh.
And I was working.
Uh-huh.
And there was this girl at my job who was really interested in me. She was Italian. And I said to her one day, I said, Rose, I got to get away from Ravens, from the baby's father. My daughter wasn't born yet.
Okay.
And Rose literally, he was out of town doing a concert somewhere. And Rose came and got me into an apartment in Brooklyn. And I moved out. I moved out of that house with that man. I went and got me, and we were working at the same place. And
You and this man?
no,
Oh, you and
myself
Rose.
and Rose. Yep,
Okay.
Rose
Okay.
would come
Mhm.
by. Rose used to live out in, I'll never forget that she lived out in Fort Lee, New Jersey. But
Okay.
she would
Hmm.
come by and stay with me. And for whatever the reason, again, this submission and this green card stuff back in those days, who was talking about, getting married to a woman and you could get a green? No, it kept in the back of my head. Oh my God, I got to stay with this man to get this green card.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
it didn't happen. It did not happen. My baby started getting really sick. And a friend of mine that I ran into one day says to me, I was downtown Brooklyn and I had the baby. And she says, this guy named Kirk, another person that I used to have relationships with. She said, Kirk died from AIDS. I said, what? She's like, you need to go get tested. I said, please, girl. And I just ignored that, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
My daughter's now 9 months old and she's been getting really sick. And I showed up because she was born at St. Vincent's Hospital. St. Vincent's Hospital was the AIDS designated center
Okay.
back in yes. This is
Okay.
1990 now. She's born. She's 9 months old.
Okay.
And I showed up at the emergency room at St. Vincent's with her another night. And a female doctor comes over to me. She was a pediatrician. She said, Miss, have you ever been tested for HIV? And I said, excuse me? I said, for what reason? I said, Miss, please, do I look like a gay man to you?
Right.
She said, I'm so sorry, miss. She said, your baby is showing symptoms of a baby with HIV. She said, would you mind if I test you and your baby? I said, well, fucking do what you got to do. I said, what? Women can get this? Sure enough, those results came back. They did a rapid test. The results came back positive.
And this
I
was
now decide.
1990?
Yeah.
Okay.
She was 9 months old. Yeah.
Okay.
We were getting, yeah. Mm-hmm. And I just left. I left the ER with my daughter. And I just decided, my God, what the, just when I got, I went home and I got into an argument. I got into an argument, and the argument that I got into at that time was a guy who I allowed to move into my house. We started messing around,
Mm-hmm.
and I got into this argument with him, and he beat the shit out of me that night. It was the worst beating I've ever encountered. And I wrapped my daughter in a blanket. I had a bottle of milk, and I left that house and just started riding the trains. And because of me riding the trains, I saw an ad. I kept switching trains, and the ad really spoke to me. If you're a woman, if you're an immigrant, if you're experiencing domestic violence, call this number
Mm-hmm.
and we will help you.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
wrote the number down. Seriously. I remember I believe it was maybe 8, 9 o'clock in the morning because people started coming on this train. Now it was the number 2 train. And I asked this one lady, I said, Miss, could you please tell me the time? And she said, oh, honey, it's rush hour. I got off the train. I had the number. And I was literally, when I got off the train, I was at Nevin Street and Flatbush Avenue.
Okay.
And I called the number. And when I called that number, someone answered the phone, a voice, a real voice, a human being answered the phone. It wasn't any recording.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, hello. I said, I'm calling because I read your ad. Your ad was on the train. And I remember that I broke down crying. Bawling. I said, please, I need help. I need help. I'm not from this country. I'm an immigrant. And I just lost it.
Mm-hmm.
And the person who was on the other end, I knew they heard the traffic in the back. And she said, Miss, where are you? Are you outside? I said, yes. I'm standing. I'm standing at the corner of Flatbush Avenue and Nevin Street. And Jonathan, I literally heard that person like, oh my goodness. And I said, Miss, what's the matter? I said, did I say, She said, Miss, I want you to turn around and face west. And I want you to walk straight into Nevin Street. And I want you to walk 5 blocks into Nevin Street. And you're going to find where I am sitting right now. Her name was Lily Chen. She was a nurse that was part of an organization called Community Family Planning Council. And they had just received funding to provide HIV testing for women who were undocumented, women who were in domestic violence situations, women who just fit my profile. And I went down to that center and I shared with them everything that I had experienced from the time I got to the United States till this was May. This was March of 1991 when this happened. And I was offered an HIV test that day for myself and my baby.
Mm-hmm.
I was also offered, the doctor can do a full physical. I did share with them since the baby was born. I never had a postpartum visit with it, because of my status.
Mm-hmm.
I did not have any health insurance. And
Right.
a physical was done on me that day. I was walking around with gonorrhea. I had to be treated for gonorrhea. The person who was my batterer, the abuser, and I was placed in a shelter for battered women. And 2 weeks later, because back in 1991, you did not receive a rapid test when you got into, I guess, the healthcare system.
I
You had to
remember.
wait 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
2
I
weeks
remember.
2 weeks in that shelter, the caseworker came up to the shelter because a caseworker was assigned to me that same day.
Mm-hmm.
And she took me down to the emergency assistant unit to place myself and that baby into a shelter. And I stayed in that shelter for 11 and a half months, and I found a way to get myself out. I became very resourceful. I learned some survival skills that I put to use. And I also, too, I met some of the most amazing gay white men and women who were
Mm-hmm.
organizing under the body of ACT UP New York. My
Okay.
caseworker took me there one night. Yes. And ACT UP New York was in the prime, organizing, doing demonstrations, providing testimonies before the Food and Drug Administrations. And guess what? I just got mentored right in, because here I am, this immigrant woman
Mm-hmm.
who was so fucking scared and so intimidated by
Mm-hmm.
this diagnosis. And here she had, I was the mom of 2 children. I made a decision and I gave my parents in the Caribbean. I sent my son to live in Trinidad because I didn't want him. My mom said, excuse me, I got to get your son out of that household because I don't want him picking up AIDS from you and that baby girl. Because we both tested positive. We never, my daughter did not seroconvert, not all babies
Mm-hmm.
that was born to a positive woman back in those days. But I would say I was a breastfeeding mom, and I truly believe I breastfed because of me breastfeeding my daughter. That added to it, because one reality that I speak about today is not the father, it's not the dad that infects the baby. Yes, he transmitted the virus to me. And because of me not knowing my status, because of me not being tested during my pregnancy, I was never offered an HIV test. And New York State had protocol in place that all pregnant, well, it didn't have where all pregnant women, because of an assembly woman by the name of Nettie Meissen
Mm-hmm.
suing New York State. Mothers and women like myself then got an opportunity to know and to opt in and to agree to an HIV test during our prenatal care. But this was not offered to us. And Nettie Meissen was determined she was going to save the babies. She said, I don't give a shit about you women. You're going around there sleeping around with these men and contracting HIV. And she wanted to save the babies. So New York State was providing what we call blind heel stick tests to newborn babies.
Mm-hmm.
And my daughter was one of them. They tested her. They knew she went home with positive antibodies because that's my antibodies, but we were never told because we never had given consent and they never asked us. And this
You were never
happened,
told?
yes. No, no, they never told us, no. Nettie Meissen, because of Nettie
Oh my
Meissen
God.
suing the state of New York as an assemblywoman in 1995, the law was passed
Mm-hmm.
that all pregnant women must be counseled and offered, let them make the decision to take an HIV test. But my dates for having kids was then, it was done and over with. And I was on the bandwagon to save this child and live my life. And I truly believe I did a whole coming out process
Mm-hmm.
where I took a public stand to educating society about the Black LGBT community, immigrant issues, immigrant that, I knew why my mom sent me away to the United States. She did not understand my sexuality that I was expressing and I was sent to live. I remember
Okay.
her telling my aunt, take this one. I can't deal with this, what she's carrying on with here in Trinidad.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You take her, stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that went on. You know, my experiences, the things that I endured, where I'm at today, I live my life today. I take a stand once there's an opportunity. I I share things about my life because I know I'm not alone, and
Right.
because, you know, I have a stand against stigma. I have a stand against, anyone discriminating against me. Oh no, honey, I don't see the person who's better than Miss Michelle. With all my flaws, I am, you
And
know?
I would wager to believe it's because of all your flaws you are so fabulous.
Thank you. Thank
I
you.
I know that I'm an incredibly flawed human being, but I also know that I'm an amazing human being. I'm an empathetic empath. It's just who I am. And
Yes.
my
I
my
love
quest,
people.
yeah, it's
Hmm.
just one of those things. And I like talking to people about their perspective. I like to see
Yeah.
how your view of the world can perhaps
Okay.
influence
Yeah.
mine.
Yes. Yes, I really do. I treat people the way I want to be treated. And if I can't get that back, guess what? I'm out.
I'm gonna treat you how you treating me
You
then.
know?
Yeah. No,
Yes.
well,
Okay.
my retort to that is usually if I'm met with stank, I will
Mm-hmm.
I will return it in kind.
In
So
kind. Yeah.
if you come at me crazy, I
Anything.
will finish it,
Yes.
but I won't
Yeah.
start it because
But I
that's
wouldn't start it.
tacky.
Yes.
No, it's tacky. That's
It is.
beneath me.
It is. It's just not me. Yeah. And I guess I call you. I call you on it. And I said, guess what? I'm going to have this conversation with you because I truly believe you didn't know better. And I would take it to a conversation that the
Hmm.
person, they
I
wasn't
truly
prepared
believe you
for.
don't know better. And
Yeah.
it is my obligation to help you
To help
because, and
you,
look, Miss Michelle, I'm gonna tell you this because I tell this to everybody.
darling.
When I see the foolishness, I
Yes.
stop it. And I
Yes.
have no regard for doing it for you because I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it for that black or brown person you come up
Hello.
on and they're not having a good day and they whoop your ass.
And they were
I
okay.
don't want them to catch a case for your foolishness.
You're
So I'm
foolish.
going to stop that foolishness for them. Has
Yes.
nothing to do with you.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely so. So
So this
true.
education is what I'm giving you for free, and it's
Yes.
not for you.
And it's
It's
thank
to
you.
prevent you from getting your ass beat because I'm concerned about that black or brown person who's going to whoop your ass.
Hello. Okay. I am doing it for your safety, darling. Because you are so customary of doing this. You have embraced this type of behavior. You're not even realizing the danger that you're
There
causing yourself.
now, what I will lie well, I won't lie because there are times when I
Mhm.
see it and I say to myself, wouldn't it be more amusing to watch this play out?
Mhm.
And I do. I just let it play out and
Yeah.
I see him say something stupid and then I see the black guy say, "What the fuck you say to me?" And then
What
he
did you
doubles
just say?
down and then the next thing you know,
Excuse me.
he's getting slapped out of his heels. And I'm like, you deserve that.
Okay. You
You
put
asked
yourself
for
there.
that.
You asked for that. How do you expect, especially when they give us, what did I do? I'm cool. I'm hanging here with you. Oh,
I have
darling.
black friends. No, you have black acquaintances. You have black people you know. You don't have black friends.
You don't
Because
have
if you
black
had black
friends.
friends, that shit wouldn't come out of your mouth.
That would not come out of your mouth. Yes, honey. Okay. Oh yeah. Can we talk? Because I love the conversations. I love the conversations, man. Oh yeah.
Listen, I was down
Mhm.
for a weekend with one of our dear friends. Now, tell me how you know my amazing friend Michael Hager.
I know, Michael. Give me 1 minute, darling. I had a little cocktail, a little homemade cocktail that the ladies made me while I was doing my hair. And I'm going to take a sip. Yes, I'm going to take a sip. I'm not trying to do
Absolutely.
no product placement, but I'll take a sip.
Be cute.
Yes, darling. The throat got to stay moist.
Mm-hmm.
I met Michael through the work of me working in the AIDS community. As I said, I've done a lot of public work. I've done work, education, and I use different methods. And I pretty much, I'm not a clinician at all, but because of health inequities and because of the disparity that even trickled, it has trickled into the HIV and AIDS community, I'm someone that's very big on quality, on very big on equalness, I don't care because I have a goddamn Medicaid card. You getting a rate to give me the best care. So guess what, darling? As a taxpaying person, as a taxpaying person who have impacted, yes, because it's because of these taxpayer systems, and I know the mechanism how we get the funding here in New York. So you're going to give me the best of care, myself and the community that you're providing care for. So there were tables
I had to
with the
actually
state that
leave
Michael and me served.
I had to leave a doctor because of shit ass service I was getting from her. And it was the first time since I had been diagnosed, because I was diagnosed in 1997. And I was diagnosed by my doctor at that time was a white male. But I quickly transitioned to a female Filipina doctor. And she's a Filipino, she's a Filipino lesbian. And she was the most amazing clinician I've ever had. But that was in Colorado. And in Colorado, I made it a point, because Colorado was very, 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 very white. I made it a point to at least have my doctor reflect at least who a part of who I was. And so when I came here, I got a referral for another doctor that all of my friend Russell was seeing. He's all like, oh my gosh, she's amazing. I love her, blah, 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 blah. I go see her. And I had never been spoken down so much. I had never been directed. I had never been dictated to before.
Yes.
I had never been like I had never not been believed when I was having an issue. That had never happened to me.
Never had that experience.
I had never had that experience until I started seeing this doctor. And every time I went in, and I'm all like, listen, these are the things that work for my body. And well, that doesn't make sense. That you're going to do this, you're going to do this, you're going to do this. And I was like, I'm not doing any of that.
I'm not doing any of that.
I'm not doing any of that, because that's not how my body works. And you're not listening to me. You're not participating in my care, because let's face it, I understand that you have a wealth of knowledge, but ultimately I'm still paying you to provide me care. I'm still paying you to provide me care. And I would like to be spoken to as if I'm not an idiot. Let's just pretend I'm not stupid.
Wow. So you had that experience, honey. And could I tell you, today in 2021, there are some of these clinicians who still tries it.
Honey, no. Honey, no. This wasn't, I'm talking about, I left her in 2020.
Go ahead.
Because I found this one doctor that I saw randomly, and her name is Dr. Stella Sappho. And she is amazing. I think she's Nigerian. And
Ooh.
There's something about the way she's very involved and she's engaged. And I have a theory that when you go see a Black female doctor, they're probably the most learned person in the room because they have to be the best person in the room just to be there.
Yeah.
It's just a
Yes.
theory I have, and it is
Yes.
working out quite
And
well
she
for me.
treats you accordingly.
She treats me like a
Yes.
person. She understands. I'm having conversation with her. I'm like, listen, this is
Mm-hmm.
what's going on in my life. This is how
Yeah.
I live. This is what I eat. This is what I do. This is what I think. And these are the
Yes.
I don't take any medications outside of the one that I'm on. I'm
That
holistic.
I'm on.
It's like I take one thing, but
I'm on a
everything else
couple.
in my life is natural.
Yes.
Everything else.
Natural. It's a celebration of your
Yes.
life, right?
And I feel
You get to
like
celebrate
your
that
body
every day
gets
you
to
wake
tell
up.
you
Yes.
what
Yeah.
works for it, what's good, what's bad.
Yeah.
And if I go out and
Yes.
eat McDonald's and I feel like shit in the morning, my body's all like, girl, you probably shouldn't have been eating McDonald's.
Thank
And
you.
I know
Yes.
that. I don't need a pill to tell
You
me
know.
that.
Yeah. Yes. Right?
But I also don't need a doctor to condescend to me because you have an MD and I don't. Don't
And I don't.
condescend to me.
Honey, let me tell you. Ooh, oh, we have those discussions. Right now, I am in the process of switching doctors
Mm-hmm.
because my doctor, honey, she needs to retire. She's,
Care.
listen, huh? Oh no, it's like she's regressing with her care. She's not innovative. She's not engaging, and she's working against me instead of her working with me. And I said, do you remember when I first came to you and I said you came as a recommendation from very close people who their health is doing wonderful? And I said, and now I hate my visits when I come to my
Mm-hmm.
visit with
Mm-hmm.
you. I
Mm-hmm.
use those words because it's a fact. Excuse me. She did ask me, what is it you hate about the visits? I said, again, you work against me.
Mm-hmm.
We're not working as a team. I have to pull teeth to get you to, agree on things. And it's not until, again, you feel comfortable when we used to make decisions together. Yeah. So it's stuff like that I'm dealing with. And excuse me, where I get my care, excuse me, it's at Cornell.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And at near Cornell, if you no longer want that doctor, you have to leave the whole Cornell, yes, provider based. You cannot switch to another doctor.
Why?
I'm trying to get to the bottom of this. Oh,
But
yeah.
why? That doesn't make any sense at
That's
all.
my latest. That's my latest piece. Yep. I have to leave New York Cornell myself. Yes, I have to switch a whole different system
Do
because
you?
that's a policy.
Why is that a policy?
Well,
Do you?
that's what I'm trying to get,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to find out why is that being allowed first and foremost.
Yeah, that doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense at all.
Oh no, it doesn't. It doesn't. So, I've told a bunch of again friends of mine, stay tuned. Stay
Mm-hmm.
tuned. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, because I need to know why. Why is this being allowed? You know, why it's just yeah, yeah. It's a policy they have written there. Yeah,
Okay.
at the New York Cornell. Mm-hmm.
That's
And this
silly.
is for their HIV programs. Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
And is
Yeah.
about through work like that, that's how you met Michael?
Mm-hmm.
Mm, I
Through my
met
work in the community.
I met Michael about 6 years ago, I think. And
Mm.
well, he's the executive director of Impact NYC. We're a
Yes.
social organization that combats stigma and isolation associated with HIV. And
Uh,
I'm the social director of Impact NYC.
oh,
So
look at that.
yeah, we've been like intertwined with one another for 6 years now. He's one of my
Nice.
favorite people in the entire world. I truly
Uh,
believe he's one of the people who's going to help change the world.
nice.
Yeah. And
And I can see him. Oh yeah. Oh
yeah,
yeah.
I think he's going to have a huge part. He's going to play a huge part in changing the HIV world. I truly believe that.
Ah. Oh wow. Now, do you mind? I have to remove myself from a certain area.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just gonna head to another.
Sure.
Yes, so we can still have our conversation. Just give me 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm switching. I had to switch rooms.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Yep, I'm coming right there. Yep. I got it. Yep.
We're taking a
Okay.
tour, y'all.
Go race. Yep. Hey, darling, how's this? How is this lighting?
Oh, so cute.
Okay, all
Now we
righty.
can see all those blonde highlights, honey.
Yes,
Yes.
I do. I have blonde and burgundy highlights.
Okay. Are those
In
cool?
here.
Are those twists?
Yes, they're called
Okay.
Senegalese twist.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Where are you from?
Where am I from? I'm from Mississippi.
Mississippi. Wow.
Yeah. And my favorite story about Mississippi because my favorite the when did you learn about race question?
Yes.
Mine came when my third grade teacher took a classroom filled with Black students to a working plantation. And we weren't allowed inside the house, but we went out to the slave
Oh,
quarters and
yeah.
saw where Black people were dressed as slaves reenacting.
Reenacted.
And then our white teacher looks at these Black students and say, "See, your people were here and they were happy."
Oh my
That's when I learned
God.
about race.
That's when you
And
learn about
but
race.
and then but here's another fun thing. I was born in Jefferson Davis Memorial Hospital. Do you know who Jefferson Davis is?
No, please edify me.
Jefferson Davis was the president of the Confederate States of America.
Mm. Wow.
I was born in Natchez, Mississippi, which is a huge plant. It's a beautiful plantation, just antebellum homes. But that land used to belong to the Natchez Indians, the native people, but they were killed off and then and those that remained were placed on this landmark called the Natchez Trace. So yeah, it's racism has just been born in me. I've been indoctrinated in white supremacy because I was born here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's my quest to rid myself of all of those trappings.
Those trappings.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And race is one of these uncomfortable subjects that we as Americans or we as a whole don't like to talk about or we choose to ignore. Because again, you and I, same seasons, that was when we were I don't see color. You remember
Yeah.
when we didn't see color?
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah. I remember even using those words. I
And
remember even.
do you know that when you say I don't see color, what you're saying is I'm equating your struggle to I'm looking through white eyes.
Exactly. Exactly. I
I'm
learned
looking at your life and wondering why why you're not where I am,
why you're exactly
ignoring my struggle.
my struggle. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, not validating my existence.
because it's not important.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
not important.
yeah, yeah. And that only happens to us if we allow it.
Unless
How do
we
you feel?
challenge it. No,
Yeah,
and we have to challenge it because it is allowing it isn't even the option. That's not even an option. That's just a given. We're Americans. It's just like
yes.
that's just expected of us.
Thank you. Right?
But
Yes.
if we once present it to us and you're like, what the fuck are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
How dare you?
Yes.
How foolish do you sound right
How
now?
foolish do
And
you sound?
and
Yeah.
what I'm learning is when we start talking about these things, when we start talking about race, um, white people get super uncomfortable, and that's not the goal. I don't want you can be
I don't
uncomfortable,
want
and
you to be uncomfortable.
but
Yeah.
no, it's okay if you're uncomfortable, but we have to move through that. Just because you're uncomfortable doesn't mean I have to stop. So you're
To stop
uncomfortable,
saying,
big
yeah.
deal. I've been uncomfortable my entire fucking life,
My
and
entire
I'm
life.
supposed to
Thank
navigate
you.
through your bullshit. Why can't you listen through it through my perspective just once? Just try it, see how it works. Just see how it works.
Yeah.
And so Michael and I were down last year. We did this generations project storytelling thing, and I told this wonderful story about my dear friend Rebecca Ryan, this beautiful, tall, elegant drag queen friend of mine,
Yes.
who back in 1997 when I seroconverted, it was the first time I was ever in drag, and her name was Poison, honey. Her drag name was Poison. Anyway, yeah, her name was Poison. And that name, I chose that name because I had just found out I was positive, and her name was Poison.
Poison. Oh my
You
God.
get it?
Look at the metaphor. Yes.
Anyway, so Rebecca was doing my wig and blah, blah, blah. She looks at me and she says, well, baby, you are so handsome. You are so
you are.
talented. Oh, thank you.
You are.
Yes. So
that
live
melanin
hard.
Is beautiful. Oh, yeah.
She says, live hard because you'll be dead by the time you're 45. So do everything. And I took that to heart. And I moved to New York when I was 39 years old in the middle of a midlife crisis. And I came here, my life fell apart. Then I put it back together and I turned 45 and I was ready to die. And then I woke up on my 46th birthday and I was like, oh, well, I guess I got to do something else now.
Hello. I'm not going anywhere.
I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to do something else now. And so I was telling this story. And after I finished telling this story, there was some odd incident that happened. And it brought up all of these negative feelings that I had had about being a black face in white space, in mostly white spaces my entire adult life. I've always been that black guy that is in a room full of white people because I'm funny and I'm charming and I'm handsome and I speak well and I'm usually stunningly dressed. And so that allows me access into a lot of places. And I'm always the only one there, or usually one of only five. And some of the things that I would hear, oh my God, you're so funny for a black guy. Oh my God, you're so handsome for a black guy. Oh, you're so, and there's always with this preface of for a black guy. Or all of this validation, or you're not like those black kids. You're not like from the ghetto. And one of those other incidents happened after I was finished telling this story while I was away with Michael and his partner, with the Michaels. And it brought up all of these feelings that I was having. And this was right after George Floyd had got killed. And so I'm sitting in this house, the black face, in a room full of queer white men, and all of this shit keeps falling out of their mouth. It's like, like
Mm.
like microaggression after racist flub after oh my god, you know what I mean, and apologia and white guilt and uncomfortable, and it was all falling, and I was like, and I was like, I'm not doing this shit anymore. I'm
You
not doing
know,
this shit anymore. I'm
yeah.
not. I'm gonna fuck all of y'all.
Yes.
And and then it came to this. Michael and I, as we were driving back to the city with our respective partners, we started talking. We started unpacking all of this
Mm.
race, this conversation about race, and he was getting uncomfortable. But over the years, he and I have had some really enlightening conversations about
Yeah.
race and how perspective is super important. And I wanted to open this up to our larger community, and so we started
So,
this initiative called Comfortably Uncomfortable Conversations,
yes.
where every 2 weeks we have a Zoom conversation and we unpack racism as
Racist.
as just an open conversation.
Yes.
And while we were doing this, and I wanted to explore a little deeper. So I came up with Grace Kiki's with Jonathan Lee. And
Ah,
that's where I'm just kind of having
I
one-on-one
love
conversations
it.
about perspectives on race.
People's perspectives. Absolutely.
Because my theory is we can't fix a problem we're afraid to talk about. So why not talk about racism? Sure, it's uncomfortable. So, but so what?
We get through it. We
I
get
know.
through.
I read somewhere. So, yeah, we've survived 100% of our bad days.
Yes.
Every bad day is in my past. Well, every bad day to date is
To
in my
date.
past. I've survived them. I've
I've
survived them all.
survived
No
it. I
matter
came
how
through it.
uncomfortable I felt, no matter how stupid I felt, no matter what dumb shit flew out of my mouth, no matter how many times people have read me to filth, and I learned something, I've survived that, and I'm a different person because of it.
Because of it. Because of it.
So
Yeah.
why can't we be uncomfortable and talk about the fact that you had to do some disrespectful things to your body to live in this country because it was so difficult being a brown woman in this country?
This country.
And then on top of that, you're walking around here for damn near a year, burning up with the HIV, and no one bothers to tell you because your life is expendable. Your baby's life is expendable. And then on
Yeah.
top of all of that, you have your family, all well-meaning, but say, I need to get that boy out of here because I don't want him to catch the AIDS, because they
Yes.
didn't understand how you transmit it.
Thank you.
And that comes from education. And
They
it's coming from demonizing sex. You were sent here because we don't talk about sex.
Thank you. But we
And
don't
oh
talk
my
about.
God, you're not normal. So what the fuck does that mean?
Yeah.
What the
Right.
fuck does that mean?
I
And
still.
in order to be normal, I have
Yeah.
to mimic whiteness. I have to mimic the ideal of this white middle class lie that almost no one really lives.
No one lives it. The
And
reality.
anything outside of that is deemed as other. Therefore, open for ridicule, open for execution, open for elimination, open for genocide, because that's where we are. And
Mm.
I feel
All of
like
the
we deserve
above.
better than that.
All of the above. Yes.
But we all deserve better than that.
Very true.
And the way we get there is one conversation at a time.
Yes. Yes, indeed. And I
Yeah.
embrace it. I embrace the conversations. We need to have more of these conversations. We need to be able to create the platforms where people can really speak their truth, process their realness, on who they are and what they stand for and what they believe in and how they feel about themselves, and not
And do
giving
it unapologetically. and say, you
Yes.
know what, this is
I'm
who I
not
am.
giving
And
another person that power.
if
Yeah.
you don't like it, stand over there.
And over there.
I am
You
not
have
asking you. I am not asking you. You're not fucking me, feed me, or paying my rent.
Hello.
So you need to go over there.
Yes, that's where you stand. Yes.
And I'm not, you can stand over there, and I will wish you only whatever it is you want. I'm gonna wish you with love. And the minute you're out of my eyesight, I won't give you any never mind. But clearly you are more concerned about what I think. And you're making all that noise, and all I'm doing is walking through life being fabulous.
Yeah.
So it's really more about you than it is about me.
And
that speaks volumes.
Volume. Yes, it does. Yes, it does, Jonathan.
and that's that's where I am right now. When all of this shit is coming up, and you're all like, girl, bullshit. Just take that nonsense elsewhere. I don't have time. I don't have time for your foolishness.
I don't.
I don't have time for your foolishness.
Exactly.
And what I would like you to do is tell everybody, all of our beautiful people, because this is airing on Monday.
Okay.
Yes, you're airing on Monday, darling. So on the 5th, Miss Michelle and I are telling a story at the AIDS Memorial, honey. Yes. On the 5th of June, honey. We are telling a story. Hers is going to be really, really interesting. About ladies, about her time with ACT UP, about fighting the fucking fight. Mine is going to be about racism and what the fuck.
About,
It's not going to say that, but it's basically, I'm talking about how races, if we talk about race, right? And we're hearing, oh my God, races doesn't matter, races doesn't matter, race doesn't matter, race doesn't matter. Why in the fuck is it on every form that we have to fill out?
Thank you.
Why is it there if it doesn't matter? If it doesn't matter, why was it on The Simpsons and you have to walk around here counting all of us? And then the minute you counted all of us, oh my God, magically things are being shifted around. And now we're rezoning.
Okay.
If it doesn't matter, if race doesn't matter, why is it that over 40% of new HIV infections are Black or brown people? If race doesn't matter.
Yes. Why? Absolutely so.
So,
yes,
but yet it's something that we don't talk about. It's something that makes people uncomfortable, so we don't talk about it. But it doesn't matter.
It does not,
And I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist. I'm just saying, I see just the same thing you do. You were educated here as well. And you were fed the same bullshit I was. And now looking at it as an adult, you're all like, wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
Yes, indeed. It's been wonderful, Jonathan.
I have loved talking to you.
You gotta do it again. You gotta do it again. Seriously, we have all these different, events, Pride, and National HIV Testing Day, and then we have
when is that?
long-term National HIV Testing Day is June 27th.
We should do a thing around it. We should get some people out. We should do it in different neighborhoods. We go out, we do some high kicks and shit. My partner will design a logo. I'm telling you, let's do it.
Okay, I'm down.
Y'all, National HIV Testing thing. As a matter of fact, I will see if we can get Impact involved in it, and we'll make a big ass thing about it.
Yeah, why not?
Darling, I will see you.
Oh,
she lost me.
Oh, no.
I will see you on Saturday.
Yes. Saturday.
I will see you at 11 o'clock on Saturday. Y'all, follow her. Where can we follow you? Tell me how people can find out your things.
Well, I'm on Instagram. I'm a diva1967.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, honey.
On Instagram,
Have an amazing night.
Same to you. I'm heading back to Brooklyn now.
All right. Travel safe because those trains are
Thanks,
crazy.
yeah. Okay.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.